Today we're going to be looking at the Flaming Star album, and I'll be showing you all 6 of the copies that I own, as well as a book that I recently received which led to me buying one of the copies that I have. And we'll be talking about all the songs on the album as well. So let's start at the beginning. The earliest copy I have is, I think, the earliest copy out there, and this is the American one from late 1968, I believe this came out. And you can see at the top of the cover it says Singer presents Elvis Singing Flaming Star and others. So Singer was the company which sponsored the NBC TV special, of course, and you could only get this album for the first few months at Singer outlets. And the album consists mainly of movie-related songs, and there's a nice symmetry to the album in that you have a familiar song at the start of each side and then something completely different at the end of each side. My copy still has the original inner sleeve, always a nice bonus when you buy American LPs. In this particular case, most of the seams have split, but if I get one that has all the seams intact, then it's a bonus. The label, and this is on the RCA Victor label. It wouldn't come out on the Camden label until later, of course. I have a lot of affection for the Flaming Star album because it was the first ever Elvis Presley LP that I heard. It was the only one that we had in my house when I was a little kid. And I'm pretty sure that the copy we had would have looked very much like this one here. This is a UK original copy on the RCA International label. The background color on the front cover is slightly different to the American one, but the image is just about as good, I would say. And the back cover is very similar also. When I was a kid, only 2 songs appealed to me at the time. They were Flaming Star and Too Much Monkey Business. I've always liked Flaming Star, and it probably contains my favorite accordion playing in any of Elvis's songs. Around about that time, there was quite a bit of accordion going on in Elvis's music from 60, 61. And Too Much Monkey Business, I just thought it was really funny that somebody would make a song about monkey business. We moved house in 1975. All the records were thrown away, probably because me and my brother had trashed them all by playing them at the wrong speed. I remember having a lot of fun playing records either too fast, so it would sound something like "Every man has a flaming star," or playing them too slow, and it would sound like
"Salesman talking to me, trying to run me up the creek, said you can buy it, go and try it, you can pay me next week. Too much monkey business."
Anyway, enough of this silliness. So there was no fancy inner sleeve with the English pressing, and it appeared on this green RCA International label. Now the third copy I have is this one here, and this one is actually from Australia. And the reason why I bought this one is because I received a book, which I will show you. It is the Australian Elvis discography and price guide. And its author, Adrian Payne, very kindly sent me this book from Australia. And thank you very much again, Adrian, if you're watching. And this book contains all of Elvis's vinyl releases from 1956 right through until the late 1980s. It's got photographs of all the covers, singles, EPs and LPs, and it also has pictures of the labels. And it was the labels that I was attracted to, actually. This page here, you can see it has all the different label designs used on Elvis's LPs in Australia, with an explanation on the opposite side. And I was immediately attracted to this yellow label here, and when I read the opposite page, I found out that this was for the Flaming Star album, and it was the only time that they used that yellow label in Australia. So I thought, I've got to get that. So I got onto Discogs and I found a copy. So let's have a look at those bright yellow labels. Here we go, the original Australian copy of Flaming Star. Very nice. And to go back to the cover, the Aussie covers were quite similar to UK covers at the time. So you have a laminated front cover, and they were still using these foldovers or flipbacks on the back cover as well, top and bottom. The back cover design is quite different because there are no album advertisements on there. It still has that little paragraph about Elvis at the top there, but then it has a lot of information here about the Flaming Star movie itself. Now, to go back to this book, the author tells me that he still has some copies of this for sale. So if you're interested in getting this book, it's only $20, $19.99, and you can get them from the author directly. So I'll put his email address on screen. And please get in touch with Adrian if you're interested in getting this book. And each book has a nice touch on the inside cover. Each book is numbered. My book is actually number 999 of 1000, which is very nice. And Adrian tells me that copy number 1000 went to Lisa Marie Presley when she was in Australia. However, he has some copies left below this number, so definitely get in touch if you want to get a copy of this book. It's not very heavy, so I don't think shipping will be too expensive. Flaming Star also came out in Japan, and this is the first Japanese cover. And in Japan, they changed the way they made their covers with this album. It actually wasn't a budget album. It went on sale for 1,800 yen, which was the same price as other albums released at that time. So in the previous year, 1968, they started releasing album covers with very thick card, and they were laminated on the front and back. And this is slightly different in that it doesn't have the lamination anymore. It's still very thick card, but it's not laminated anymore. And you have a typical Japanese 1960s back cover with English lyrics at the bottom and Japanese sleeve notes at the top. I mentioned it was a full price release, and it was released on the RCA label. To me, this album is, to borrow a football cliche, an album of two sides. I really like the first side, and if you'll have a look at another copy here, this is an early Camden copy from America. So in the middle of side one, you have 3 movie-related songs. The first one is Wonderful World.
Heaven is found right here on the earth. It surrounds us and wonderful things all around.
And at that time, Elvis had a lot of reasons to believe it was a wonderful world. Lisa Marie had just been born the previous month when he recorded this song. The TV special was coming up later in the same year, and he got to make a movie with the gorgeous Michelle Carey, one of my favorite Elvis co-stars. And I really loved that song, Wonderful World. It took a few years to grow on me, but it does sound really, well, joyful, right? And it's probably the time of the song. It sounds like a fast waltz, and probably that's got something to do with why it sounds so happy. I love the song Nightlife too, the next song on side one. I love how it comes in with the clunks on the tom-toms and the fuzz guitar. And you don't really get too much fuzz guitar on Elvis songs. An obvious example from that period would be Slowly But Surely from Fun in Acapulco. But if I had to choose a favorite song on side one, it would be the next song, All I Needed Was the Rain.
Hello, misfortune. How's my old friend, Mr. Misery?
In the sleeve notes to the Japanese album, which I just showed you, it says that the song is not very good, but Elvis's performance is so good that it convinces you that it is a good song. Although I have to say that the musicians too deserve a lot of credit for their playing on that song. So you have slide guitar, which you don't get very much of on Elvis records. In fact, I can't think of another song where you can hear slide guitar in Elvis's catalogue. And it also has some quite sublime harmonica playing by Charlie McCoy. And the acoustic guitar, it has a kind of a dead sounding acoustic guitar track, which really works, I think, for that particular song. They re-recorded it for the movie, and the version in the movie is not as good as the version on this album. So the back cover hasn't really changed. And you'll notice that the design of the cover changed with this Camden release. So it now says Elvis Sings Flaming Star, and the songs are on the front. There's no mention of singer anymore. When I got this album, it was actually sealed. And when I opened it up, I found that there was no inner sleeve. It's just the cover and the record. So if we go to my last copy, this is a Japanese pressing from 1978. And you can see that the cover design is very similar to the first one, the first American one. Of course, it doesn't say Singer Presents anymore, but it has all the text over on the right side, and there are no song titles. And I mentioned that this was an album of two sides, and the first three songs on side 2 are all pretty ordinary as far as I'm concerned. Yellow Rose of Texas, She's a Machine, and Do the Vega. But then, just as side 1 ends with something completely different, also side 2 ends with a taster for the 1968 TV special, Tiger Man, which is easily the best song on that side, and perhaps the best song on the whole album. It's quite similar to the original pressing in that you have the lyrics on the back, but there are no Japanese sleeve notes on there. This particular album was part of a series. You can see the price up there at the top, 1,500 yen. And it was part of a series of 10 re-releases in 1978. And this particular series is starting to get a bit more expensive now. People in Japan are also starting to take an interest in this. And the series comprised the 9 Camden albums plus Pure Gold. All the albums came with this insert, which shows all 10 LPs in the series, and then you have new liner notes on the other side of that sheet. And another really good thing about that particular series was they all came with this picture label design. So what was the first Elvis LP that you heard? And what do you think of the Flaming Star album? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Cheers.